Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most personal and honestly, one of the most confusing paradoxes in Christianity. It's a question that can stir up a ton of guilt and confusion for a lot of people. So let's just get right to it. Here's the big question. If a Christian is saved, if they're forgiven, then why on earth do they still sin? I mean, if you have a new nature, shouldn't the old one just disappear? It's a real head-scratcher that sits right at the heart of the Christian walk. Okay, so according to our source material, the solution to this whole puzzle hinges on the distinction you see right here. The argument is this: while it is literally impossible for a believer to completely stop sinning in this life, it's absolutely essential that they stop living in sin. And figuring out the difference between those two, well, that's the key to everything we're about to unpack. All right, so let's get into the first piece of the argument. It's called the mortal proof, and it grounds this whole theological idea in a physical reality that none of us can deny. The foundation for this is the idea that sin and death are totally, completely linked. You can't separate them. When sin came into the world, death came right along with it. They're not two different problems. They're two sides of the exact same coin. One's the cause, the other is the effect. And listen, this struggle is nothing new. Even the Apostle Paul felt this tension in a huge way. When he cries out in the book of Romans, "Who shall deliver me from this body of death?" he's not giving up. He's just being brutally honest about the battle happening inside his own mortal body. And this is where it gets really personal. The source makes this incredible point. As long as our bodies are mortal, as long as we get tired, get sick, get wrinkles, and one day die, the effects of sin are still physically with us. Your own pulse is the most tangible proof you have that sin hasn't been completely wiped out from our physical world, at least not yet.
So, if sin is still hanging around in our mortal bodies, how in the world does salvation work? Well, the source gives us a kind of roadmap, a theological timeline. It breaks redemption down into three clear stages, and this is our map to the answer.
Here they are: justification, sanctification, and glorification. You can almost think of them as the past, present, and future tenses of salvation, and each one deals with the problem of sin in a completely different way. Let's start with stage one, justification. Think of this like a legal verdict in a courtroom. It's a one-time event that's already happened. The moment someone has faith, the source says, the guilt of their sin is completely removed. God declares them righteous. It's a done deal, past tense, finished. Then comes sanctification. And this is where we are living right now. This isn't a single event, it's a lifelong process. See the shift? The guilt of sin is gone, but now the power of sin is being broken piece by piece. This is the journey of becoming more righteous, not a destination we've already arrived at.
And that brings us to the final stage, glorification. This is the future hope. This is the end game. At the resurrection, it's not just the guilt or the power of sin that's dealt with, it's the very presence of sin. It will be completely and totally wiped out, and believers will get new, perfect, resurrected bodies. And right there, that's the light bulb moment that solves the paradox. According to the source, anyone who claims they are totally sinless right now is getting their timeline mixed up. They're confusing the present process of sanctification with the future promise of glorification. They're trying to cash a check that isn't dated until the future.
Okay, that's the big picture theology. But what does this actually look like in our day-to-day lives? This next part really gets to the heart of it all, the difference between a stumble and a complete surrender.
This slide really nails it. Sinning is like stumbling on a path. You trip, you fall, but because it goes against your new nature, you hate it, and you get back up. Living in sin, though, that's a surrender. That's choosing to just stay down in the mud, to make peace with the darkness instead of fighting it. The difference isn't about perfection, it's about your direction. And the Bible itself seems to hold this exact tension. 1 John is super clear. If we say we have no sin, we're just fooling ourselves. But the solution isn't to despair, it's to walk in the light. And what that means is living an honest, open life, constantly turning back to God the moment we stumble. I love this metaphor the source uses. It says repentance isn't some sign of failure. It's the oxygen of the new Christian life. It's the very thing you do to breathe. It's the mechanism that keeps you connected to God's grace and free from sin having the final say. It's a constant, life-giving rhythm. And this famous verse really captures that daily reality. This whole idea of being crucified with Christ sounds so intense, right? But it's really about a daily choice, dying to our own way, our own ego, our own agenda, so that Christ's life can work through us. It's how sin's rule is broken, moment by moment.
So let's tie all these threads together. How do we live with this? It all comes down to embracing this paradoxical state that Christians live in, a tension that theologians call the already, not yet.
This is the beautiful, messy reality of the believer. You are at the very same time crucified and breathing. You are dying to your old self and rising to new life. You are sinful in your mortal body, yet completely forgiven in spirit. You're fallen, yet absolutely beloved. You are carriers of a glory that has already begun, but is still on its way.
And that leads us to the final, crucial takeaway. From this perspective, the Christian life isn't about trying to achieve a flawless performance. It's not about personal perfection. Instead, it's a journey of faithfulness inside the struggle, trusting in a righteousness that's already been given as a gift and waiting for a glorification that is absolutely guaranteed to come.